Welcome to HortTube, where we talk all things gardening. My name is Jim Putnam, and this is a Dobbs frosted juniper. This is Dobbs frosted juniper, a beautiful ground cover juniper that gets new gold foliage throughout the growing season. Dobbs is a spreading or ground cover juniper that only reaches about 1 foot in height, but can get as wide as you need it to get, easily 4 to 6 feet. Dobbs is a ground cover juniper that only reaches about 1 foot in height, but it can get as wide as you want to let it get. You could keep it anywhere between probably 4 and 8 foot in width over time. Like most junipers, Dobbs is extremely cold hardy. This can grow all the way up to zone 4 and then down to zone 9. Like most of these ground cover junipers, they're going to kind of be slow to start. We won't get a lot of growth on these the first year they're in the ground, but over time that will pick up pace, and we probably can add a foot of width in these in the second or third year. Junipers are definitely sun-loving plants. This thing needs at least a half a day sun, and then probably would prefer almost full sun. The primary use for Dobbs frosted juniper is going to be as erosion control on a bank, typically. These work fantastic on sloped areas where the water kind of drains away from them. They'll actually work on a foundation in front of your other foundation plants, but if it's planted in a flat space, you have to make sure that it's not going to be over-mulched or end up overly wet. Another great use for these is actually in a container. You could put something in the back, like a sky pencil holly, that would give you some height, and then this juniper would spread out over the container like this one's doing. The primary features of Dobbs frosted are, number one, obviously it just hugs the ground like what you're seeing here. It just spreads outward, and so there's not a lot of vertical growth, not a lot of pruning to do on it ever if you're using it as a ground cover. It has this incredible new gold foliage on it. I'm shooting this in late winter, so it just is starting to put on a little bit of that gold growth, and it'll become over the next few weeks very two-tone with a blue-green inner foliage and a bright yellow outer foliage. It's really, really quite nice. I've included videos for planting shrubs in the description of this video. There's only one main concern on junipers across the board. The soil needs to be well drained, or you need to put them on some place that's going to shed water, like on a slope is ideal for these. For the first year after you plant junipers, you'll want to keep a close eye on watering them. Let them dry out, but when they need water, drown the space around them. Just stick your finger near the base of it and check on it. Once they're established, junipers are extremely drought tolerant. But if you're planting them on a slope, always keep in mind that that slope is going to be drier than the surrounding area. It's best if you're going to plant a large slope, and this is a great plant for that, to put in some sort of drip hose above them while you plant them, and then mulch over that drip hose, and later you can plug it in, because if it gets abnormally dry, even these junipers, which are extremely drought tolerant, on a slope can be too dry. As I said, all the new growth on Dobbs frosted is a gold color, and you'll get a lot more of that by fertilizing them. This is definitely one I want to fertilize because that color contrast is fantastic. Any kind of slow release fertilizer that lasts 3 to 4 months in the spring would be ideal. While you're trying to establish these as a ground cover and get them to fill in, you can do a second application on junipers in midsummer and not hurt them. Junipers can be pruned pretty much anytime you need to prune them. Most of them will bite you a little bit, so make sure you're wearing gloves. They can make you kind of itchy. But if you have these along the front of a bed and you need to cut them back, you can use a weed eater on them probably and just not hurt these at all. The main thing you need to know about these ground cover junipers is they need to be cleaned up in the winter time. If leaves are getting in them or any debris gets in them, over time it'll start holding water in place, even on a slope, and they can definitely decline over time if they become wetter and wetter. They're almost their own worst enemy that way, because a place that's really, really hot and sunny and dry, as the juniper covers it up and starts trapping organic material in place, it actually ends up creating a wet space, which can be a problem. So make sure you're cleaning that stuff up. Other than that, typically we don't get a lot of problems on junipers. Junipers are susceptible to all kinds of chewing insects and disease problems, root rot issues. But as long as they're planted properly, well drained, on a slope, and you're doing the cleanup that I said, you won't have many of those problems, and they're pretty much deer resistant. So what are you waiting for? Even you can grow the low maintenance, ground cover, Dobbs frosted juniper. Thank you for watching my video, and if it was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Also, comment below with any questions you have about ground covers. Thanks again.